As someone who works with people with persistent and severe mental illnesses, I can say I could not hate this more. Let's get into what Canada is doing to their mentally ill. Before we go further, I should say I am a husband of more than a decade, a father of 4, and a person who has worked with the severe mental illness as a counselor and therapist for more than 13 years. And if you can support a future of faith, fatherhood, and freedom in America, I would love to earn your subscription today. Like the video on the way in. Let's get into what Canada is doing and why I, as a mental health professional, could not object more.
He was killed. He killed himself, and doctors helped him kill himself, and the government encouraged him to kill himself. How did this guy, whose worst medical problems were blindness and diabetes, how did he qualify for medical assistance in dying?
By all reports, the Canadian government is assisting at least 5% of their population to take their own lives. And while they started off in the place where they were saying it would only be those who were so ill that they were terminal, that they were approaching their own passing in certain ways, now it has gotten to the point where they are beginning to supposedly liberate people from their lives who barely have terminal or chronic illnesses, and now it's even reached into the pocket of people who have just a mental illness. And I've worked with people who have mental illnesses for a long time. I started my career working with people who have severe schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, other psychotic disorders, and I can say it is a really difficult thing to live through. But I would not, and I know that these are vulnerable populations. These are people who may not always be able to make the best decisions because their impulse control could be limited at times. And I would not, under any circumstance, want one of my former clients to go into a government-sanctioned psychiatrist or other doctor and have them say that just on the basis of their mental illness that they would qualify to take themselves out of this mortal plane. It is absolutely true that they may come into a psychotic episode or a portion of mania in which it is really difficult to say no to things. These vulnerable peoples deserve protection, and they are not getting it in Canada. Watch a little bit about Michael Knowles reporting exactly what's going on.
Is only for the most grievous terminal illnesses. Well, according to the poor guy's mother, apparently this guy's doctor, Dr. Wiebe, was coaching her son on how to qualify as a Track 2 patient, which is for the people whose natural deaths are not deemed reasonably imminent. So the people who aren't going to die anytime soon, but they want to kill themselves anyway, and these psycho doctors in this psycho government of America's psycho neighbor, the evil top hat of America, Canada, are encouraging them.
The Canadian government expert who is testifying in this next clip says that no one should worry because we're only taking the lives of people who are advantaged, who are privileged, and in fact have the agency to be able to make these decisions. But I would hazard a guess that a great many of those people too should not be talked into this as just an option for despair. And as Michael Knowles stated, the individual in question that's making headlines most recently was suffering from seasonal affective disorder or seasonal depression. This is something that is obviously by its nature temporary. That is inherent in the name of the diagnosis, seasonal, which means that it might happen in winter, but in springtime it might not be there. And so once we begin taking people out of this world based on a seasonal, something that will inherently pass, we are doing a disservice. Of course, I wouldn't support it in 99% of cases because I've worked with people who have hopelessness when they come in and they are hopeful and they have a great life and they are available to their family and friends by the time they leave. And not all therapy works that well. They do the work. They make the changes, but it is possible to overcome these serious and persistent mental illnesses. And I would admonish anyone who might be suffering, do not give up. I was once there. I was once hospitalized. There is a way out. and it's almost inherently temporary what you're going through. But for this individual specifically, it was seasonal depressive disorder or seasonal affective disorder, which means it is temporary. It's right in the name. And that is a great shame. It's a shame upon the Canadian government. And I would call upon the Trump administration to begin taking refugees from Canada because it's gotten that serious. Watch what this Canadian expert has to say in Parliament about whose lives are being lost.
Well, promote supports and services for people with mental disorders, all the various things that that bring about socioeconomic vulnerability. Parliament has an obligation to do those two things at the same time. Don't hold individuals' rights hostage to Parliament's failure to promote mental health supports and services, disability supports and services. Do them both. I think that's your responsibility, is to do both at the same time. And to know, and when you're answering back to your constituents, is to be able to tell them that these are not the drivers of MAID. People who are getting MAID are actually very, very privileged. Mm-hmm. They're white. They're well off. They're highly educated. They're not in institutions. They have families. So the picture of it is one of privilege. And so it doesn't mean we don't want to look after the people who are vulnerable. Sorry.
Thank you.
If RFK Jr. or anyone else who wants to rebut and refute this type of service that's happening in Canada wants a testimony of an expert. I have personally been hospitalized with this type of disorder, and I have worked with people who have been hospitalized with severe and persistent mental illness, people that have been told by the state that they needed to attend therapy for their mental illness. And I have seen case after case of people getting better, reinstituting hope in their lives, and reinculcating relationships with their family, friends, and yes, maybe even God. It is up to us to say that this evil should not stand. And as I sit here in the state of Ohio, I am a 3.5 hour drive from the country of Canada, and it causes me great despair and distress that this is going on so close to us. Please, for the love of everything holy, if you're a Canadian, do not give up. I know the weather is probably really bad up there, and I know your government is also really bad, but do not give up. Move to Ohio. You can be my neighbor, and it will probably be a hopeful future for you. That doesn't mean everything will be solved. Even if you get through a seasonal disorder or a depressive episode, it doesn't mean your life will be rosy. But if you can pick the lowest hanging fruit, take the steps that are right in front of you, that one phone call, that one uncomfortable conversation, that one intervention that's necessary to get you from where you are to where you hope to be. Just take the first small step, and tomorrow might actually be better for you. Do not give up. Oh, Canada, move to Ohio. If you would like to promote a future of faith, fatherhood, and freedom with me, I would love your support. Thank you for watching to the end of the video, and I would love your subscription. See you later.